I gave Cassie a blank look, not acknowledging what she might have meant. We have to try to deal with this. Personally, I don't want a world filled with primitives any more than I want a world filled with Yeerks. Jungle rats and slugs, Marco said with a laugh. Now there's a nice world for decent people to live in.
Wonderful! Wonderful! I love it!
The voice was unknown. I spun around, ready to do battle. Standing there, as though it had appeared from thin air, stood a creature who could not possibly be from Earth. It looked at first glance like the mating of a small dinosaur and a large prune. It had 2 legs and balanced its body with a stubby tail. The hands were weak, flimsy things, with too many joints. The head didn't fit with the bird-like body. It was humanoid in shape, with a narrow lower jaw and big, mocking eyes. The skin was wrinkled, like a prune. The flesh was dark, almost jet black, relieved only by green that rimmed the eyes and mouth. "Who are you?" I snapped.
Me? Oh, I'm hurt! Devastated! You don't remember your old friend, the Drode?
"I've never seen you before in my life," I said.
Well, no, not this life, perhaps.
"Yeerk," Melissa said. "Some new host body." "Marco," I said. He nodded. He began to slowly morph to grizzly bear, his favorite morph. "Who are you?" Axe demanded. "Or should I say, what?" The creature grinned.
You, at least, are no different, Aximili Escaroth is still the arrogant Andalite.
"Shut up, Axe," I snapped. "I'm supreme leader here. I'll ask the questions." Having put one pushy alien in his place, I moved back to the other. "What do you want?" I demanded. Out of the corner of my eye, I saw Marco changing. The creature sighed.
Well, as much fun as it is to see you all this way, I suppose for us to move on, I'll have to return you, temporarily at least, to your usual condition, sanctimonious, self-righteous, and utterly tedious.
There was no flash of light, no bang, nothing changed, except that everything changed. I changed. Suddenly, instantly, I was a different person. I stared at the Drode. I knew now who he was, what he was, whom he served. I shot a look at Cassie, then at the girl standing beside her. Melissa was gone. Rachel was there.
So glad you're back with us, Rachel, the Drode leered. You know you're still my favorite Animorph.
What was all that? Marco demanded mid-morph. Some kind of hallucination?
No, the Drode said. It is glorious reality. Big Jake the perfect leader, Jake the compassionate, nothing more than a jumped-up little dictator with delusions of grandeur who insists on being called supreme leader.
No, that was not reality, Cassie snapped. I do not own a slave. That's sickening. What are you talking about? And where was I? Rachel demanded. I was thinking how I'd have to turn Cassie in for not approving of some war down in Brazil, I admitted. That's not reality.
I will tell you about reality, the Drode said eagerly. Your country is an empire ruled by terror and torture. It has made war on the nations to the south. It slaughters people it calls primitives. It enslaves anyone with an IQ below 80, as well as anyone born with what you call defects. All in all, it's my kind of place.
That's bull, Marco said hotly.
I assure you it is all true. The Yeerks are within months of consolidating control. The lack of freedom among humans has made their conquest ever so much easier. Your few books, your 2 radio stations, your single television channel are all censored. Your technology is 50 years behind where it should be. Poverty is widespread. Curable diseases run rampant. Some women are forced to breed to repopulate the dominant white race, while at the same time in the major cities the poor and homeless are rounded up and shot.
Jake, let me take care of this little worm, Rachel said. What's this all about, Drode? I asked. I wasn't at all sure I wouldn't take Rachel up on her offer.
The time matrix, the Drode said.
What? Axe's stalk eyes snapped around to stare. That's a myth. No such device ever existed.
Oh, it existed, the Drode said. It exists. It was found by a lowly human controller who uses the name John Berryman. He is an actor, not a very successful one. A lowly controller whose Yeerk was, until he lost the battle for Lyra, none other than Visser IV. And why did he lose the battle for Lyra? Why, because of all of you. Ironic, eh?
What does this have to do with all that other stuff?
The Yeerk, the former Visser IV, has used the time matrix. He has traveled backward in time and is changing historical events. He's rewritten the past in an effort to bring about a Yeerk victory and give himself greater power. You, the other yous, are unaware that life was ever any different. You have all been raised in an environment of delightfully ferocious oppression. It's all quite wonderful."
"But slavery? Some genocidal war?" Cassie said, her voice cracking. "Why are you here?" Rachel demanded. The Drode sighed.
"Sadly, I am here to offer you the chance to undo it all."
He spread his hands wide and smiled a hideous smile.
"I want to help."
I laughed. "You want to help? You, meaning Crayak?"
"Yes, it is rather puzzling, isn't it?"
the Drode mocked. "Why would you help?" Axe asked.
"It's all part of a deal. My master, the great and glorious Crayak, and your friend, the simpering, meddling nitwit called the Ellimist, have a deal. Neither of them really approves of a mere Yeerk possessing the most powerful device in galactic history."
"In other words, this time matrix could endanger Crayak himself," Marco translated. The Drode laughed.
"Don't be a fool! Nothing threatens the great Crayak. However, one doesn't want mere baboons blundering about with time matrices, does one? Who knows what harm they might do? Oh sure, it's all fun and games when they end up starting genocidal wars or endangering race hatred."
"Yeah, what's more fun than that?" Rachel said dryly.
"But who knows what other damage a fool with such power may do?"
"Crayak could grab the time matrix himself," Jake said. "He has the power."
Well,"
the Drode said. Crayak and the Ellimist were to humans what humans are to ants, nearly omnipotent creatures, one evil, one good. Perhaps. We could never be entirely sure. "The rules," Tobias said. "That's the problem. The rules of the game between Crayak and the Ellimist. Neither trusts the other with the time matrix. They don't need it themselves, but they might give it to their allies." The Drode put his hand to his ear.
"Did I just hear a bird chirping?"
"You mentioned a deal," Marco said.
"Yes," the Drode said. "A deal, and here it is. The 6 of you will be allowed to follow the time matrix. The former Visser 4 set off on his journey 2 days ago. You will be translated back to that point, and then the quanta that make up your atoms will be tuned. Yes, that is a good word for simple minds to comprehend. You'll be fine-tuned at the subatomic level to resonate with the movements of the time matrix as it travels through time. Your own memories and personalities will, of course, be buffered, protected against changes."
"Resulting in what effect?" Axe demanded.
"Resulting in the effect that, like an echo, you will follow the time matrix. It plucks the chords of time and you reverberate."
He stopped and shook his head in admiration of his own words.
"Brilliantly explained, eh?"
"That's the deal?" Jake asked. "That's it?" "There's something else, isn't there?" I asked the Drode. The Drode laughed.
"Oh yes, there is something else, little Cassie. Cassie the killer with a conscience. Kill him, then cry over him. That's our Cassie."
"What's the something else?" I repeated, not letting the evil little creep see that his words had hit home.
"My master Crayak has demanded a price, a payment."
"A payment?"
"Uh-huh,"
the Drode said in a parody of coyness. "What?"
"One of you,"
the Drode said.
"You can attempt to save your reality, put everything back where it belongs, end slavery, replace tyranny with democracy, millions of lives saved, let freedom ring, glory hallelujah, in exchange for one single life."
"A life?" I asked.
"The life of one of you. That is my master Crayak's price. One of you must die."
"This is insane," Marco said. "I mean, I've said things were insane before, but this is totally, objectively insane." He pointed at the Drode. "You go back and tell that manure pile Crayak, and the Ellimist too. This isn't on us. They can fix this and leave us out." "If we do nothing, we go back to that other reality, don't we?" I said to the Drode. "Jake's some kind of junior Nazi. I'm a slave owner. All of us living like that?" "Why wasn't I even in the group?" Rachel demanded.
"You? A violence-prone sociopath like you, Rachel?"
the Drode said with a happy laugh.
"You are in a re-education camp. This world has little room for bold, aggressive females. You are being taught your place."
"Say what? My what?" Suddenly, around the Drode's wrist, An oversized watch appeared.
"You all have to decide,"
the Drode said, holding up the watch.
2 minutes. Tick-tock, tick-tock. Then all goes back to what it should be. Tick-tock."
He was gone as suddenly as he had appeared. "My place?" Rachel muttered, not quite believing the word. "No one teaches me my place." "Okay, 2 minutes. Visser 4 is running around the past messing up the future. I don't think there's much question that we have to do this," Jake said.